Hey everybody, welcome to the Ronline report. First Ronline report we've had in months and months. And of course, who did I get for this? None other than the guy that just made a huge splash at both the Arnold Classic Ohio, then a couple weeks later at the Arnold Classic UK. I've known him for a long time, but he's getting better and better. Please welcome Jonathan Delarosa. What's up,
What's
John?
going on, guys? How are you?
Yeah, let me tell you, man. So I did the live watch with Giles, Tiger Thomas, with Mike Cox, and when you came out, man, we were floored. I want to actually go to that. I think I have the UK footage up there.
Yeah.
I want to show that because, man, when you got that first call out, and let's take a look at that. So hit play. So yeah, first call out with Hadi Chupan, Samson Dauda. Oh, here we got to wait for it. You can see it on your screen, right?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, just want to make
The first time I'm actually seeing this.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Perfect. Yeah. So what was going through your head when you heard your name called out first? Because you've been to the Arnold before, you've been to the Olympia before, but I don't think you've ever had a first call out. This was a new territory.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't surprised. I know, listen, this is going to come off a little bit like a dickhead, but no one believed in, everyone lost hope in the abilities that I had. And part of me understands why. But I always knew I belonged up there, and I needed my shot, and I wasn't going to be given a shot, so I was going to take my shot, and I took my shot, and I wasn't surprised.
Yeah, I mean, we were surprised because I admit, man, I was like, well, John had a run, but I don't know if he's ever going to get to that level that I really want him to. And when you came out looking like that, I kind of had an idea because I was seeing Patrick's posts, I was seeing your posts, I saw how good you were looking.
Yeah.
Like, wow, he's never really had this fullness with this condition all at the same time like this before. I think he might surprise us. And sure enough, man, surprise the hell out of us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, not making excuses for myself or but it wasn't like I had the best of circumstances going into the last few years of my life. Any of the competitive outings I had, there was a lot going on that was kind of made things difficult for me to be at my best. I mean, even back in my younger, earlier in my pro career, like, I mean, you and I had spoken about this plenty of times. There were guys that I was competing against that had the financial backing to make this their everything, their entire day.
Yeah.
I never had that opportunity, not once. And it's cool to be known as a blue collar guy, but it's only cool when you keep hearing it, year after year. John has so much potential, but he just can't seem to nail it. Yeah, well, I'm not fucking sitting around on my ass all day eating and sleeping and training. It's not. I was never granted that ability. Going into the later years of my career, now, thank God that my partner Sean Covell and I have, Sean is one of my best friends. He gave me an opportunity to be a partner here in the gym, and the gym's doing well. And so, things start to kind of free themselves up financially where I can give myself a little bit more time to dedicate to bodybuilding and just bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I met my wonderful wife almost 3 years ago. And I mean, the support that this woman gives me is, I've never had anyone support me the way that she does. I mean, she made sure that every meal that I had was cooked fresh for the last 4 months. I never had to pull a meal out of the fridge and warm it up. Everything was done with the purpose of actually being my absolute best for these events. And things just lined up. I just needed a shot, and I knew going into this that I had put my all into it. And it's not that I didn't before. I always use this analogy, like, when you're working a job, like when I worked in the elevator mechanics union, I would work all day, a very labor intensive job. And then I would go to the gym and I would give that 100%. But really, when you're working a labor intensive job or any job, you're using a lot of energy throughout the day. And then you're going into the gym, and sure, you're giving 100% effort, but you're only giving 50% of what you got because you already used 50% of what you got. Yeah. You know, so it's a very different ball game when you're competing against guys that eat, sleep, and train, and that's all they fucking do. Yeah. You know, and again, you know, it's funny. My dad and my wife, they would listen to these podcasts, and everyone wrote me off, and I just kept telling them, listen, don't let it affect you. We're gonna show the world what we've been working on, what we've been doing, and they're gonna see, and then they're gonna become believers.
Yeah, you know, I have so much respect for you. Just in those early years, I remember the time you turned pro, and even your first couple of years. I don't think people understand when you talk about the elevator engineer, what that job, how demanding that was. First of all, you told me, you know, you're hauling like parts, like hundreds of pounds of parts inside an elevator shaft with no air conditioning. It'd be like 120 degrees in there.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was getting claustrophobic just hear you telling me about it. Then after that, you go to the gym. Like I said, you know, even the guys that you were competing against that were working, what were they doing? A lot of them were just personal trainers.
Yeah.
Just counting reps all day or whatever, you know, no offense.
Right.
But that's a whole other level. I mean, how long were you doing that into your pro career? Were you still doing that?
Well, I was doing that for 3 more years.
Wow. Yeah. It's funny.
And then I opened my supplement store, which allowed me to kind of like not be so physically, you know, exhausted at the end of the day. But, you know, any business owner will tell you that when you own a business, it really becomes your everything. And I was there all day. And again, I wasn't just eating, sleeping, training, and doing bodybuilding stuff. I was a business owner. I was trying to provide for my family then and a home and, you know, all of this other stuff. I thought I was doing the right thing, what I should be doing as a man, providing, you know. You know, and like I said, right now I'm just in a place in my life where I put myself first for once. You know, I've met a woman who allowed for that to feel okay. You know, I made a post about my wife and how wonderful she is, because as crazy as it is, when I first met her, you know, I told her, I said, you know, I really do believe I'm one of the best in the world. I don't think that's my partner right there, Sean.
Yeah, I'm trying to find your wife.
Yeah,
Sean Cavell, Sean and Holly.
Yeah. So, you know, she believed in me, and that was a strange feeling for me because, you know, here I am, 30. I met her. I was 38, 37. I'm going to be 40, and I told her, listen, I want to be one of the best guys in the world in this sport. I've always dreamt of becoming. And she was like, all right, let's do it.
Wow.
You know, what do I need to do? How can I help you?
Wow.
You know, and it was a strange thing, but she meant every word of it. And I mean, when I tell you, Patrick would call my wife and say, I need John to drink 100 mLs of water every 30 minutes. My wife put an alarm clock on her phone, and every 30 minutes she was there, 100 mLs of water.
That's awesome.
He would tell her, I need you to weigh out, there's my wife right there. I need you to weigh out 1 gram of salt and put it on every meal. She weighed out 1 gram of salt, put it on every meal. Like there we go. She's an incredible woman. She's an incredible partner, a beautiful soul. She's funny as hell. You know, and she's really a huge driving force into again, you know, and that's what this post is about, is the man that was on that stage. It was in large part due to all those people that I mentioned, Sean Covell and Fitness System Sawgrass, all the employees, my dad, my mom, you know, all the people that just loved on me and believed in me and never stopped believing in my passion and my drive for the sport. So it was it's been a great, you know, 2-3 weeks for me, for sure. It's more so just because of that I was able to go out and prove to myself, I still got this, you know. I can still bang with the big boys, you know.
Oh, I mean, if you were just kind of maintaining a certain level of your career, that'd be one thing. But man, you turned pro in 2011. That was 13 years ago. I mean, most guys who are 13 years into a pro career, most guys never last 13 years as a pro. They're gone long before that.
Yeah.
We've seen so many guys that you competed with in the early years of your pro career. They're gone.
Yeah.
They've hung it up, and you see them at shows, and they're half the size, and some of them are cool, some of them are bitter, whatever. But you're getting better and better. And who does that? Like you said, in May, you're going to be turning 40 years old. I mean, this is I'm not just blowing smoke, man. I've never seen you look this good.
I appreciate it.
And I was waiting and waiting. I've seen you win. I've been at some of the shows you won. And I was like, yeah, I just want a little bit more of this, that, and this is it. This is it.
Yeah.
So, man,
I'll tell you, I mean, the plan that Patrick and I put together, we're just getting started. You know, I feel really good. And I know that in our sport, everyone likes to make a big deal of 40 years old, but I'm gonna put things in perspective. Dexter Jackson won Mr. Olympia post 40.
Yeah.
Sean Roden started hitting his arguably he looked his best his last competition. I think he was 43 years old.
That's right.
Ronnie Coleman was winning Olympias post 40.
Yeah.
A lot of guys are just getting started to hit their peak in their 40s. So I will say this for myself. I know that I'm just getting started.
Wow.
I wasted a lot of years, man, and this is something I want to speak to as much as I can on an open public forum. You know, I wasted a lot of years of my life after my divorce trying to figure things out, trying to find myself, trying to figure out what I was supposed to be doing, building myself back up. And as painful as those years were, it was absolutely necessary for me to go through them. And I'll tell you why. Number one, the lowest point of my life was when I tore my bicep. At that point in my life 2 years ago, I felt like I had lost everything. I lost my home in New York. I lost my business. Not that I lost them, after the divorce, it just, the life that I once had was no longer there. The life that I was trying to build was no longer there. The family that I was trying to build was no longer there. And now I couldn't even train, So the person that I've been, since I could remember, I remember when I tore my bicep, I just had flashbacks of me, literally carefully pinning and posting up pictures from the cutouts of the magazines on my closet door of Nasser and Lee Priest and Flex Wheeler. And I remember so vividly, knowing that that's what I wanted to do. And now I could no longer do that. And I wasn't sure whether I would ever be able to do that at the high level that I knew I should have been doing it at for a long time.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't know that I was going to ever have that opportunity again. So fast forward, I get back in the gym and this desire, and this is no knock to, I've said this before, this is no knock to any of the guys that I see coming up, but I remember looking at Nick Walker and hearing him talk and just studying him as a human. And I was just like, man, how does this kid have so much confidence? Not the prettiest physique in the world. I'm sorry, I'm not a fan of his physique as far as flow and aesthetics. It's not pleasing to me.
Right.
I understand he's a big motherfucker, but just not the prettiest physique. And he's got to know that. He's got to know he doesn't have the prettiest physique, but he's still supremely confident. How? Yeah. How? Right? And then I started to wonder, well, it's because he puts in the work day in, day out, right? And I've done that. I've been there. I put the work in, day out. Maybe I didn't get the same results, but how can I be better, right? And so when I started to train again, and the questions of, well, am I going to be able to do this at a high level again? I started to push that doubt out by just ticking off one day at a time, one meal at a time, one training session at a time. And each day I got more and more and more and more confident. And today I stand before the world as a man who will tell you I'm going to be top 6 in the world. Maybe not this year, but I will be. And I know I have structurally the God-given abilities to do that. I need to work at it. and I will continue to work at it if God gives me the ability to do it. My health stays intact, but I'm not going to let any more time go by while I wallow in sorrow or, boo-hoo, poor me. I went through this terrible time in my life. No, fuck that.
Hmm.
We're not around for very long. 5 years of my life went like that.
Yeah.
People started writing me off. People were like, "Ah, yeah, John, he's not that good. Like, he's turning 40 years old." And no, I'm just getting started. I'm just
Yeah.
getting.
Okay, so you actually tore your bicep putting your dog down in a thunderstorm. Was that the dog we just heard?
Yeah. He wants to go out to the backyard. Yes.
Yeah. So my question, you obviously you missed 2022 because of that situation. I
Yeah.
think 2021, I think you were busy just starting up the
The gym.
Sawgrass,
Yeah.
fitness
Fit,
system Sawgrass
sir.
plantation. I told you
Yeah.
I was near your gym in spring of 2022.
Yeah.
But I spent 10 hours at that outlet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Following my mother-in-law, my wife, and my daughter around like Gucci and Fendi and all that crap. And
Yeah.
but what was it like? Was it a boost of confidence to come back after 2 years away and still get second to him and then second to Hunter, who's been fourth at the Olympia?
So I'll tell you my exact thought process during that entire time. Like, I was just so excited to. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I absolutely love bodybuilding. I love competing. I love it, and I want to do this as long as I possibly can. So I just wanted to be on stage. I just wanted to compete, and I didn't really like. I knew I looked okay. In my head, I was a little bit like, I don't want to say self-conscious because that's not the word. But I was a little worried that I was a little bit too small, right? Because I had only been training 8 months into Chicago. That's how long I had trained for that show, and that before that I hadn't trained at all for about 8 months.
Wow.
Because of the bicep tear, I wasn't allowed to do anything. I mean, the doctor literally told my wife, "Don't even let him turn a door handle." I couldn't even do this.
Wow.
I couldn't lift a bottle of water, nothing. He wanted me doing nothing. He had me in a sling and whatever. So I couldn't do anything. I was very, very depressed. So I was just excited to get back in the gym and train. And then Patrick said, you want to try and compete? And I said, fuck yeah, let's go for it, So we started to diet down, and I had a lot of body fat, and I hadn't been training long, and there wasn't a lot of muscle there. And so, visually for me, I was kind of looking at myself like, well, you know what? I'm just happy to compete. Whatever. So we go to Chicago, and I have butterflies in my stomach. Like, I was on cloud nine. I was just so happy to be there, just to be doing this again, just to be part of this again. I was like a kid in a candy store. Well, I walk out on stage and I get first call out, and I was like, holy shit, cool. Right? And then I get back to the room and I'm looking at the pictures, and I'm like reading people's comments, which I don't do because half of these people never have competed in their lives. They're talking about like, oh, well, Justin doesn't have striated glutes and John doesn't have this. I'm like, you guys don't even fucking compete. Shut up. So I don't really listen to that stuff, but I'm listening to people like, oh, well, I have John winning, and I'm like, wait, they actually think I can win this? Like, this is crazy. So then I start looking at the pictures, and I'm like, oh wow, I don't look bad. I look okay. So then I kind of get fired up, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna do okay, So after looking at the pictures, then I start analyzing, and then the competitive John comes out, and I'm like, well, I think I beat Justin on this shot, and then I saw rear shots of Justin, and Justin to me looked really off from behind, and I thought I was a little bit better from behind. So I said, well, maybe I could win this. But then I started looking at pictures of Stan, and I was like, man, but Stan's really hard from behind, So I was like, but he doesn't have that much muscle either. So I don't know which way the judges are going to go. And again, I'm just super happy to be there. So I said to my wife, I said, babe, where are they going to end up? First, second, or third? I don't know. But either way, fucking pumped for this. This is cool. Well, as we're now we're go back to finals, and I see Justin even softer. So I was like, man, so this is gonna come down to Stan and I. And you know, my wife is back there texting me. She's like, Justin looks softer. You might edge him out. So I've been doing this a long time. So I'm just like, I know how this goes. Just like this past weekend with everyone telling me, oh, you're gonna place third, solid third, and then I end up fourth. I know how this goes. I'm like, listen, I'm not putting anything in my head until it's done.
Yeah.
So Stan gets called third.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, I might win this.
Yeah.
Anyways, I ended up second. And that's kind of when I was like, I started to convince myself, nah, that was just like a fluke. The lineup, people were off. Like, no, this isn't like, this is too good. It's too good. There's no way this is real. Like, this is just a weak lineup. I started to convince myself of that, right? Then I hear Hunter's doing Tampa. And then again, that competitive drive, that John that's real fucking hungry comes out. And I'm like, you know what? Hunter's gonna be big, but I'm gonna be fucking hard. So I start killing myself. I'm like eating nothing. I mean, eating, but just not anything enjoyable. I'm suffering on my diet. I'm doing my cardio, just like grinding. And I was in really good shape. And I remember the night before, my wife and I, we do a lot of praying, and my wife and I prayed, and I said, Lord, if this is meant for me, then great, show me somehow. But if this is not meant for me, Lord, place me last, place me dead last, because I don't want to put my heart into this again if this is not what's meant for me. Right, honey? Remember
Yes.
that prayer?
Yes.
Man.
And we go to bed, and we come out in the morning, and Patrick is like, man, you look fucking good. So I was like, really, coach? He's like, you look really good, man. Like, you're gonna hurt some feelings today. So I try not to let this, get in my head. And then we get called out for prejudging, and me and Hunter get called 1 and 2. And I was like, holy shit, this is fucking awesome. And I think I had an interview with Giles immediately after.
Yeah.
Hunter looked incredible. But boy, what that did for me was just reignite such a fire. And it just brought up a whole bunch of emotions. It brought up a whole bunch of things that I had been dealing with a long time, but also affirmed a lot of things for me. When you're going through things in life, people say things to you sometimes that like they really deeply affect you, if you let them. And unfortunately, I let some of the things that were said to me deeply affect me. And one of them was that I was never going to be a top bodybuilder. And in some ways, I believed that. I allowed myself to believe that. And I had been broken down so much as a man between, all the things that I had been through, and then tearing my bicep, and then I just believed that maybe I'm not a good bodybuilder. Maybe I had this delusional fucking dream my entire life, and just now it's time for me to face reality, right? And then I play second to Hunter, and it's Hunter's best.
Yeah.
So for me, it was just like, nah, man, I'm pretty fucking good at this.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be better if I continue putting the work, and I continue to put in the time, and I continue to believe in myself.
Yeah. You were a solid third in UK. The only reason Akeem sharpened up again, still, you know what? I could have flipped a coin with you guys. You have the back shots on him.
Yeah.
You have a more complete physique.
Yeah.
You both have things that the other guy doesn't have. It's just
he has the muscularity. I have the shape and the prettiness and the conditioning, and he's just a big boy, and listen, it's like I said, in time. We got time.
So Patrick Tour, I don't know if he's the best coach in the world, but he seems like he's the best coach in the world for you.
Yeah.
You've worked with a few coaches over the years. Don't need to drop any names, but why has it been such a successful partnership with Patrick? Because you've never had this completeness to you with the fullness, the condition, everything like we're seeing now.
Well, I think Patrick really, a lot of people don't realize I've been working with Patrick for 3 years. I hired Patrick when I was building out the gym with Sean to take me into the New York Pro where I tore my bicep. So Patrick, if I could have it this way, Patrick will be my coach for the rest of my life, the rest of my career. He's more so, I want to speak to the man more so than the coach. He's a good man. He's a very good man. He's got a very good heart. Patrick cared about where I was mentally. Didn't care if I never competed again, but he would call on me and check on me and make sure that I was okay. And that I believe created a dynamic of trust. I didn't want to let him down, and so when it came down to it and we were getting ready for Chicago, it was like I just knew that he had my best interest at heart, and I knew that he had done so much for me that the least thing that I can do is be my best for him, so that way people can say, man, look at how Patrick brought John in. Yeah. And that still remains to this day. Patrick is just one of my very, very, very good friends. I've spoken to him about things that no one needs to know about. Yeah. And he has never judged me. He has never criticized me. He's only given me advice. He's only cared about who I was as a man. Didn't really care about me as a bodybuilder. Of course he cares about me as a bodybuilder, but that was secondary to, hey, how you doing? You okay today? Mm-hmm. When I tore my bicep, that man called me every day, checked on me. You okay? Is there anything I can do? Just things that no other coach. Man, let me tell you, after I tore my bicep, I have friends in this industry that I thought would have called me and texted me and, hey, are you okay? No one fucking called. Wow. No one cared. And that's kind of why I have this attitude. You know what, man? I've never been the guy. You guys know me. I'm not a partier. I don't hang around the industry. I don't hang out with people. I go to work. I take care of my family. This is who I am. And for a little while, I let that bother me a bit. It's like, man, I go out of my way for people. I love on people hard, and I give my all to my friends and my family. And to know that some people didn't even reach out to me, didn't give a shit, but they smile in your face and act like they care. Sponsors dropped me, never even called me to give me a reason. Like, hey, sorry, you're not competing anymore, so we can't pay you. They didn't give a fuck. They just stopped paying me. Yeah. So I become a very different man. I'm the same man, but just much more aware, and much more angry and and much more. I'm gonna take what's mine. That's it.
Well, I think you make a good point. I think as anyone gets older and they've been through some hardships, and you've had these times when you're down, and you see these people don't care. Nobody's even calling. They're not checking up on me. Those are the people you need to let go, because they were never really your friends. Right. So you've got your wife, you've got your dad, you've got Sean, you probably get just Patrick. You probably just you can count them all on probably less than two hands.
Yeah.
Those are your real friends. Those are really your people, and everyone else just kind of an acquaintance.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a difficult thing for me to swallow, like I said, because for me, I love hard. I give my all to all my friends and my family. And, this doesn't just speak to people in the industry. This speaks to people outside of the industry, friends that my friends that have known me since I was a child, know that forget bodybuilding, just being in the gym does so much for me, it's who I am. I've been lifting weights my entire life, and if somebody tells me, hey, I love riding motorcycles, and God forbid they get into an accident, they can't ride for several months. If I know it's a really big part of their lives and their identity, I'm going to check on them. Hey, you okay? It's a big deal when something gets taken from you that is such a huge part of you. I mean, God rest his soul. Look at Luke Sandow. Mm. Some of us really struggle when things like that get taken from us. And that's exactly the depths of shit that I was dealing with. I didn't know what to do. Meanwhile, you're expecting people to like check on you and the people that you certainly would have checked on, and they don't care. Yeah. So, it's a very different man that's in front of the world right now. It's a very aware man, but fuck, I'm hungry. I told Giles last year, like, I'm the John Delarosa that's being presented to the world is dangerous because I'm hungry. I see these guys that have these huge contracts that don't do shit. They don't work. They don't do anything, and I just see it as, you know what, man, I'm better. I'm going to be better. I'm going to continue working until I'm better, and we'll see where the chips fall at the end of at the end of my career. But I'm very, very aware that I don't have a lot of time, and I'm going to make the best of my career while I'm able to. So
I saw a list of people that were being talked about for Arnold Brazil. Your name was on that list.
Yeah.
So are you definitely in the Arnold Brazil, or they call it Arnold South America, right?
Arnold South America. I honestly have not heard a single thing about the Arnold South America. I have not gotten an email. I have not gotten anything about it. So I assumed, I don't know what's going on with it, but I'm probably not going to be doing it. Okay. I spoke to Steve and Tyler Mannion after the Arnold in UK, and they want to see me qualify for the Olympia, but they also want to see me put on a little bit more muscle tissue. So we're looking at some later shows in the year.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was going to ask, because, man, we got to get you on the Olympia stage this year. You got to this is it. I feel like this is your time.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to compete. It just, we're looking at the schedule and seeing where where that lands for us.
Yeah. And I mean, you probably could, I think you could win several. There's a bunch of shows that I bet you could easily, I would say, yeah, of course, John could win that. He could win that one, that one, that one.
Yeah.
Like the point system was gone for 1 year. It's back. I don't know why they took it away for 1 year. So
it's back.
It's back. Yeah, it's back. Yeah, they really say it.
I have no idea.
Well, now you know. So, I mean, you've already got a couple strong placings, a couple more. Of course, a win. Going in with the win's the best possible scenario.
Yeah. I think the bet right now that Patrick and I are talking about, we're looking at the Italy Pro Show. That's September 8th. I think it's a month before the Olympia.
Yep.
So we're looking at that. It gives us about 25 weeks of more prep time. I'm still on my diet. I'm still doing my cardio. Everything is exactly the same. We increased my carbs slightly from 50 grams a meal to 100 grams a meal in the attempt of trying to put on some lean tissue.
Yeah.
So, we're going to give the judges what they asked for, right? This is my job. This is what I'm going to do. They want to see a little bit more muscle with the same condition. So I could, my goal is to squeeze into that top 6 to 8 spot at the Olympia.
Yeah. Why not? Yeah. If you told me that like 5-6 years ago, I'd be like, I don't know. Yeah. There's no doubt in my mind. You could definitely do it this year. Definitely. And I mean, if you made the improvements, even half the improvements that you made from Chicago and Tampa last year, between now and the Olympia, there's no doubt in my mind you're top 10
either. Sure. I mean, I don't think people realize that either. And from Chicago, which Tampa, which was August to December, I was able to put on a little over 8 pounds of muscle.
Wow.
From to the Arnold, right? So I pretty much started dieting in December. So now I have about 25 weeks. So that's the goal again, right? We're going to try and put on another 5 to 6, 7 pounds of muscle and show up again in tip-top shape and give them hell.
I mean, and this is if someone else told me they're almost 40 and they've been training for, what have you been training since you were like 13 or something?
Yeah. Yeah.
Someone else told me they're going to keep putting on muscle, but like, nah, yeah, whatever, dude. But I don't doubt you for a second. I just saw what you were able to do. You know, everyone's on the bandwagon now, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's the funny thing, right? Like that's the thing that my dad we were talking about it. He goes, well, you definitely set your goal and you made it happen. You showed the world what you believed you were capable of. We all knew you were capable of, and it just took the right time, the right circumstances, right? And right now I know that I'm in a place where I can make this happen, and I'm going to give it my all. Listen, there's so many factors in bodybuilding that a lot of people don't realize. I picked up my dog and tore my bicep.
Yeah, yeah.
Shit happens. But as long as I can stay healthy and I have this confidence and this drive and this desire and this dedication to this sport that I love so much, I mean, there's no reason why I can't go accomplish it. And there's no reason why anyone else can't either. I mean, we put these self-limiting beliefs in our minds that just, again, I did it for years. I did it to myself for years. That, well, maybe I'm not, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm not going to be a top guy one day. Maybe I should just stop. Maybe, like you do these things to yourselves. And of course that leads into every action in your life.
Yeah.
And the moment that I started to shift my belief, and all it takes is really just fuck everything else. Do the work. I got up every day, 5:45 in the morning from the start of prep. That little thing, I can look back at it and I say, I didn't miss a single day getting up at 5:45 in the morning to do my cardio. Every single day. I still went to work every single day. I got up, I did my cardio, I had my breakfast, I went to work, I came back, I had my meal, I went to nap. My day was structured. I was a machine. Yeah. I'm proud that those little things, day by day, you tick those things off. Hunter Labrada has a shirt he gave me, and I wear it proudly. It says, win the day.
Yeah, yeah.
Win the day. And it's such a powerful statement, and it's so fucking true. Win the day. Just win the day. Make it perfect as you can make it. And you continue to do that day after day, and you will see that you can get there too. But it just takes that belief. Just take a step. I started to do stupid things. I used to get up in the morning, do my fasted cardio, and I forced myself to take a cold shower. Forced myself. I got into this mindset that I was going to do everything that was difficult that I did not want to do. Standing in the shower at 6:30 in the morning, sweating, and you just turn on the cold water and you force yourself to get into that bitch.
Oof.
Right? But what you're doing is you're bending those beliefs that have been instilled in you for so long. You're forcing yourself to do these hard things, and then when you do them week after week, month after month, or day after day, you start to force yourself to believe in yourself. I could do this. Yeah. If you can get up at 5:45 in the morning, regardless of what happened the night before, whether you had a good night's sleep or bad night's sleep, it didn't matter. You got up, you did your job. You build confidence in that. And as you do that day by day, little by little, it ends up being big results.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of guys out there with great genetics, but there's not a lot of guys who have the work ethic, the drive, the willingness to do the things that they're very uncomfortable doing like that. So, that's why it doesn't surprise me. I've always respected and admired your work ethic. I've always considered you one of the hardest working guys ever in your entire generation of bodybuilders. Nothing was ever handed to you. I know that. I've followed you from day one. You worked for everything. You've worked twice as hard for everything as most other people, 3 times as hard. So happy for you. So excited for you. I really want to see what's going to happen later on because, you don't have a lot of time left,
No.
A few more years, but you're going to make the most. So whatever time you got, you're going to make the most.
Yeah. If I can do this for another 5 years, healthy and happy, and continue building a legacy. See, that's the other part of I think that's the other part of this where things are just different for me. Like I'm turning 40, and Ron, you've been maybe you haven't had these thoughts. I don't know, because I've asked guys that are turning 40 or have been 40. And just my mindset changed. I started to think like, one of the things that like hindered me for a long time was that I don't have a family of my own. I don't have any kids. And as you know, Ron, I'm a family man, and I have nieces and nephews. And I started to think about them, and I started to say, maybe I don't have kids of my own yet. And my wife and I will be trying to have a family soon. But what are my nieces and nephews going to think of me? What are they going to think of? Are they going to say, yeah, my uncle was a bodybuilder. He was like a journeyman. He did good, but he wasn't the best.
Yeah.
Fuck that. I don't want that to be said about me. I want my nieces and nephews and my kids to say, my dad was a fucking badass. He kicked ass all over the world. He was one of the best at what he did. That's what I want to be said about me. Not that, yeah, John was a nice guy. Yeah, he's a nice. No. Yeah. No, I want them to know, like, listen, we all go through some hard shit. Life is going to come at you hard and fast. It's going to knock you on your ass. What are you going to do about it? You're going to let it beat you up? Or you're going to get back up and you're going to say, here I am. Let's go.
Yeah.
Round two, motherfucker. Let's go.
I kept trying to think of a way to phrase it, but round two is the perfect way because, yeah, like you said, you had a great run. You won shows. You took second at so many shows. Most guys, that would be it. They would just kind of be on a slow slide from there down. And to go from that point, and then he tears his bicep. I'm like, oh boy. To go from that to going back on an upward trajectory, it's amazing. It's fun to watch. I mean, it's inspirational. I've been doing this for forever, man, and it still inspires me to see what you're doing right now.
Thank you, man.
So I appreciate you taking the time. I wish you the very best. I'll be following along all your posts, all Patrick's posts, and whatever show you pick next, man. I'll be watching on the edge of my seat because I can't wait to see what you have next for us.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time, Ron. You've always been so kind, and you've always had my back, man. I appreciate it.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching the first Ronline report on my new channel with Jonathan Delarosa. We'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching.